Welcome to the PANACEA Model. Now we will learn how to address the presenting problem with the PANACEA Model. In the PANACEA Model, we begin by addressing the presenting problem. This involves identifying key players and core emotions using techniques like the mirror technique and the Karpman drama triangle. We then work on recoding and reframing these emotions and beliefs related to the source of the problem, person, pattern, or perceived void. By applying each step of the PANACEA Model to your identified issue, you can address core emotions and epigenetic beliefs, leading to the resolution of life's challenges. Utilize the free guide, Recode Core Emotions and Subconscious Beliefs for assistance. This unique PANACEA model was crafted from decades of personal and professional experience to provide powerful shortcuts to bring proven solutions forward. The 7 strategies provided in the PANACEA steps are a complete system guiding others towards solutions only discovered internally by learning how to access our advanced guidance system, since there are no solutions outside of us. We will cover advanced topics that we outlined in our introductory series in more depth, including our PANACEA model, providing valuable shortcut strategies that you can implement anytime, anywhere for personal empowerment, self-mastery, and permanent life solutions. Start with your parents if you're unsure where to begin, as addressing parental issues often leads to significant transformation. Address one problem or parent at a time, focusing on emotional beliefs related to biological parents and caretakers separately if needed. The DNA connection. We will begin the PANACEA by exploring the connection between DNA and human behavior. As with any therapy, if we want to address the core level, we must first get to the root. In this case, it requires an understanding of how we are genetically wired, specifically the role of DNA in shaping psychological traits and subconscious programming. Each of us recognizes that we are, in part, a product of our parents. However, we may not fully realize that the genes we inherit influence not only our behaviors and choices, but also our successes and failures, largely due to the beliefs passed down through generations. Many self-sabotaging behaviors stem from inherited subconscious patterns encoded in our DNA. Traditional therapy often overlooks the deep-seated programming that shapes our default responses. To create lasting change, we must go beyond surface-level interventions and actively reprogram these inherited patterns. If we are to not only practice, but also master our own medicine, we must first understand the profound connection between biology and behavior. Much of the stress that we encounter is also genetically transferred. Ilania Hoffler of Genetic Voice Prints, 2014, explains that many patterns in our lives can be traced to genetic traumas, hardships, and unresolved conflicts that are stored in our DNA from our ancestors. Science has proven that DNA is not only the physical characteristics of our lineage, but also the accumulation of emotional traumas from earlier generations that led to our current subconscious beliefs and conscious reality, which were transferred and inherited genetically. Brain science calls this field of study and treatment epigenetics. Epigenetics is a science that views our development as the result of an ongoing interchange between hereditary and environmental factors. According to molecular biologists, our genes are shaped in part by our ancestors' life experiences and demonstrate that traits and behaviors acquired in one generation can be passed on to subsequent generations. So what have you learned from your environment, including past or present experiences? What have you learned from your genetic or inherent tendencies? What kind of behavioral patterns have you absorbed from both the nature versus nurture or diathesis model? What were your freedoms and what were your limitations? Findings suggest that the majority of our subconscious blocks were inherited from our parents and grandparents. The brain inherits unfinished business transferred from our ascendants. Dr. Candace Pert, in The Molecules of Emotion, 2010, asserts that traumatic experiences, in particular, frequently result in strong emotional reactions that are stored within the brain's neural pathways and the cells of the body, locking an individual, to some extent, within the same emotional experience. For example, if a person felt abandoned by a parent in youth, likewise, their offspring may inherit a fear of abandonment. This subconscious conditioning can persist throughout a lifetime, influencing relationships and behaviors, until it is intentionally reprogrammed and genetically recoded. Pert goes on to explain that, because the creation of peptides within the cells utilizes the DNA, a proclivity toward specific peptides may be transferred genetically, which explains genetic patterns of both disease and demeanor. Therefore, we inherit both psychological and physical traits, including dispositions, in the form of subconscious beliefs and behaviors. Epigenetics in action. Let's delve into presenting problems with examples of epigenetic influences. Consider a young mother who conceived before marriage, fearing she wouldn't be a good parent due to unfulfilled dreams and lack of support. Her daughter repeats this cycle, marrying for the child's sake and facing emotional complexities leading to divorce. This pattern continues with subsequent generations until one mother or family member decides to break the cycle. Psychological conditioning and emotional voids. Parenting mistakes, like being overprotective or constantly comparing children, can lead to lifelong emotional impacts on the children. When children's emotional needs go unmet, such as seeking comfort from parents who are unavailable, they develop coping mechanisms and behavioral patterns that can persist into adulthood. Core issues and inherited beliefs. Memories of unmet needs or trauma can lead to beliefs that hinder relationships and success. These inherited beliefs can restrict personal and professional growth until we recognize and overcome them. Breaking the cycle. It's essential to recognize our limiting beliefs and behaviors to achieve mental breakthroughs. By addressing inherited dispositions and childhood needs, we can overcome rigid patterns and live more fulfilling lives. Childhood vulnerability. Traumas are common to everyone, although to varying degrees of severity. Inherited beliefs, adverse childhood events or experiences, and other unresolved emotions present themselves in our lives as fears, negative thoughts, anxieties, limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, and unwanted behaviors. Consequently, our beliefs and inherent programming are either working for us or against us. So, if beliefs are formed by internal thoughts and emotions through our perceptual reality, then how do you suppose we form new beliefs? Consciously, you may want to eliminate all these negative beliefs and personal limitations, but the conscious mind is at the mercy of the beliefs programmed within the subconscious mind, which makes up the majority of our life experiences and behaviors. The subconscious mind gives the orders, and the conscious mind follows the orders given. Our beliefs subconsciously control our behavior and can either empower or disempower us through our thoughts, choices, and actions. Therefore, subconscious beliefs unconsciously dictate our reality and run our psychological programming. Beliefs are formed when we have a thought accompanied by a feeling that becomes rooted in the subconscious mind, which creates a subjective, perceptual reality for each of us. So, what might this encourage us to do? Reprogram negative subconscious beliefs and create conscious thinking to recode our beliefs, perhaps? Your conscious mind is the active part of you that is alert, awake, assesses, calculates, and judges. Your subconscious mind is where memories, emotions, and beliefs are stored, and accounts for more than 90% of your mind power. So, wouldn't we want to make the most of this internal mind power by stripping ourselves of negative beliefs and restructuring our minds with beliefs that work for us, rather than against us? What are some new beliefs you would like to adopt and recode?